players being number 20, Jack Gustafson, who had his first career goal for the Indiana Hoosiers 90 seconds into the first period. Second big contributor is number 29, Will Jeremy. 2 goals, 2 assists, and a little ride in the penalty box. He's always consistent and started right out of the gate for the Hoosiers this year. And number 8, Jack O'Flaherty, had his first goal back from injury and is looking great after struggling a lot last year with his arm. Tonight, there's a big change in the lineups. We're looking at Jack Gustafson on left wing, Jack O'Flaherty on center, and Jack Kissel on right wing to start for forwards, and Matt McKay on left D and Austin Williams on right D, with Jack Thompson starting off in the net, which is quite a big change for the Hoosiers as they have been pretty used to Sammy Billis sitting in front of their 2 posts. So it'll be very interesting. And for your Hoosiers who were scratched last night but are back on the ice tonight, Adam Offenbach, Jack Knoll, and Will Kicker, so keep an eye out for them. Next, we're going to get into a little bit of around the league. So today, Miami versus Swall College, big W, 7-3. SIU Edwardsville versus Louisville, 1-0 in the third period, and Wisconsin beat Bowling Green State University 5-3 this afternoon. And Liberty is leading Ohio State 2-1 around the third period. So we'll be back with more updates on those games as the game progresses. But right now, it is just about time to get started. So I'm going to send it on over to play-by-play Sam Weixler and color commentary Garrett Drake to get it started. We'll see you in the first.
After dragging themselves out of bed after a late night, getting home to Bloomington and checking all the college football scores going on across the country, it's time for the rubber match of this 2-game series on opening weekend for club hockey at Indiana University. Live from Columbus, Indiana, alongside Garrett Drake, I'm Sam Weixler. And Garrett, last night it was a very different score than what we'd expected coming in. 7-2 the final score, Indiana picking up a win and putting a tally in the win column. What do you think we can expect after guys are a little bit groggy and a little bit sore after last night's slugfest?
I definitely think that the game today is not going to be nearly as quick as the one that we saw yesterday. It might be physical because Concordia is going to have a bad taste in their mouth from the way yesterday ended, losing by 5 goals. And it was already chippy yesterday. Concordia actually won the hits battle 25-20. Indiana really dominated every other aspect of the game, but Concordia was definitely being aggressive.
We have a starting goaltender change for the Falcons of Concordia University, Wisconsin. It'll be Mac Willie, who, Garrett, we noted yesterday, has a letter on his sweater.
Yeah, Willie, he came in relief last night, gave up a couple more goals towards the end there, but, he looked pretty good. Indiana's going to have to really test him and get him moving out of the crease if they want to have some success here today.
On the other side, a change for Indiana as well, the newcomer Jack Thompson. Thompson from Edina, Minnesota, from the Breck School, a freshman, 6'1", 200 pounds. And it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to this new game speed.
Yeah, the ACHA is definitely a step up from high school, and we saw a few freshmen for the Indiana team get in the scoring column in their first career game, so it's going to be the first game for Thompson, and I'm sure he's looking forward to it.
The Indiana bench is manned by Coach Andrew Weiss in his first full season, his second overall with the team. And on the far side for Concordia is Shea Klitsky, his second season with the team as well. And we will send it now ice level to Andrew Gus on the PA. And once again, time for Indiana Hoosiers hockey here at the Hamilton Community Ice Center in Columbus, Indiana. Garrett, last night, plenty of goal scoring to go around. Will Jeremy, the only man to put his name in that column on the score sheet twice.
Yeah, Jeremy picked up where he left off from last season. We mentioned in the broadcast yesterday he was the leading goal scorer as a freshman, and only expect him to improve over the next 3 years here in Bloomington. He's the young sophomore, still got plenty of room for growth, and he's already an incredible player.
Over a point per game last year, 41 points coming from 21 goals and 20 apples in 33 games played. So he was only out of the lineup once in all 34 games, and that really says something to the resiliency of that kid and how he can stay healthy.
Yeah, there's no question he's durable. I also wanted to point out Austin Williams, who's in the starting lineup again today. He had a heck of a game last night.
Indiana in their red sweaters, as they were last night, from left to right. And the Concordia-University of Wisconsin Falcons from right to left in white and blue. Puck already behind the Indiana cage as it's flung away across the circle. Cruising into the neutral zone, Williams sidesteps a hit, and the puck trickles over toward Michelli, but it glanced off of his stick just a moment too soon, and that'll be blown dead for an offside with just half a minute expired here in the first.
Everyone, including myself, eager to see how the pace of this game plays out compared to yesterday. It was one of the quickest games we saw all year, and both of these teams are definitely tired.
Speaking of quick, a quick shot right into the stomach of Mac Willie, the netminder for the Falcons. And he really stepped up and closed the game down once he came in the third.
Yeah, he flashed the glove a couple times with the quick snags off some really fast shots coming at him, and he looked pretty solid. Gave up a couple goals, as you mentioned, but, you know, that's going to happen against a team like Indiana.
Face-off thrown all the way across and right in front of the crease as Thompson has to handle things, but the play blown dead. And Stripes have their arms raised. 19-23 here to go in the first. Donuts and goose eggs up on the board.
Indiana not able to change on that break there. Concordia getting some fresh legs. Look for that.
Garrett, we've seen that happen time and time again when a team gets pinned after icing the puck or some other situation, and their legs are just dragging by the end of that long shift. Face-off control by the Falcons. Sharp angle shot right in front, hits McKay's body. He then tries to go down on his knees and block another shot, but it whizzes past him. Michelli shovels it across the blue line, and the Falcons will have to retreat. Again, poked across the blue, and McKay swiveling around in his own end zone.
That was a nice block by McKay there, keeping the pressure off Thompson.
Indirect pass off the boards. Back to McKay as he's being harassed at the center circle. Tries to shield the puck, and it's flung on a quick 1-2 to Jeremy in the high slot. His shot doesn't get much on it, and it's into the near side corner, possessed by the Falcons. Way dumps it off, but it's intercepted by a kicker dressing this evening after being out of the lineup yesterday. Everybody in the near side corner looking like a choir box in a church, all sitting next to each other. Now to Jeremy on the breakout for the Hoosiers. Under the legs of Slavin. He looks around him and finds an option. Tommy McDonald getting clotheslined, and then his helmet grabbed on the near side. The whistle blown.
It's going to be on Concordia.
And we will have our first power play for the Indiana Hoosiers of this game. Yesterday, Garrett, neither team had any success in special teams. 0 for 2 for Indiana, and Concordia went 0 for 3.
It's going to go on Gregor here as he heads to the sin bin to kick things off, Sam. And you mentioned Will Kicker making his first appearance of the year today. I expect him to be a staple on the blue line for this Indiana team as the season progresses. He played a lot last year, and he really showed what he can do.
Absolutely had an impact. Last year, Indiana on the power play, just a tick under 28%, and that number got better as the year went on. A quick shovel shot in front. Jeremy nearly put it past the legs. Under to Whitliff, now to the near dot. McDonald surveys the field, throws it into the leg pads of Williams, and lunging at it, going full body dive. Whitliff has to find his D partner, and then McDonald moving into it. Tries to quarterback the offense. It's poked at, and still bouncing around each way across the blue line. Dumped off for Kissel. He sidesteps and avoids being sandwiched. Lays it for Jeremy, high slot. A shot and gloved down by Mack. Boy, he had some opponents in his face after that shot.
Yeah, and you got to know that he's going to be keeping an eye on where Jeremy is at all times now. That's twice in a row where Jeremy gets a quick shot off on him. I don't know how he stopped the one that went across. He looked like he got it with the right blocker there. It was a heck of a shot by Jeremy.
Speaking of Jeremy, he wins the draw, kicks it to McDonald, who walks the blue line. Feeds to Whitliff, far side in front of the bench. Now back to Whitliff on a give and go. Far side, now back in a centering pass, kicked away by Mack. And thrown around the glass as it sits on the windowsill. That was Thomas Dieball trying to clear it. Now taken by Castle, and he has stood up against a brick wall. Whitliff stood his ground. And again, the Falcons change. Jeremy gets smacked around in his own zone. Gets a little bit of a hip check, and then finally kicks it to Kissel. Kissel enters the zone in the center. Pass is knocked away, and instead it's Michelli back skating.
Castle did a good job cutting that off right there, just swooped into the lane.
Wilderman toying with Michelli a little bit, forcing a delay as both sides get a change. 38 seconds to go on the power play for Indiana. And as I say that, offside will be the call. 16:45 to go here in the first, and neither team has broken the deadlock.
It's going to be an icing against Indiana, Sam.
Well, Garrett, no deflection. That's pretty surprising. It's unusual for Indiana to not be able to get set up in an umbrella or some other form of sustained pressure when they have an extra guy out there.
And now you look, Concordia gets to choose which side they take the face-off on, and Indiana's got to keep the same skaters out there.
It'll be to the stick side of Thompson in his first career appearance. Just holding it in the trapezoid and then leaving it on a little give and go. Back to McKay through center ice. Little dipsy-do through the circle. Now to the near side and back to Gustafson, who punches it into the corner. Whisked all the way around, and with 10 seconds left, Wilderman and McKay will give chase, but Thompson climbs out of the crease and stops the puck in its tracks. McKay getting messed with behind the cage. Finally, Gustafson trying to help out, and then it's a big hit laid by Hawkins. Hawkins in the number 4 sweater this afternoon. Another quick shot ticked away by the right leg of Thompson. And as I was saying, Garrett, Hawkins, a little number jersey change. There was an issue with the number 10 that he wore last night, so he'll take Griffin Timmons' sweater for this afternoon's contest.
Hawkins did a good job of getting that puck away on the rebound as well. Concordia had a couple players lurking by the net.
Back to even strength, 5 aside. We have played nearly 5 minutes in this opening frame of game number 2. Sherman takes the handoff and then tries to give it to his partner again, to Offenbach, who couldn't take the off-the-wall pass. Open ice hit, and Thompson again clambers away from the pipes. Sherman scoops up the loose change in the corner, and it's whacked out by Brandenburg, who feeds it again to Null right along the glass. He takes a blow. Null put a lot of work in this offseason, losing 10 to 20 pounds and putting on some muscle. He looked like a completely different player at tryouts, a lot faster. 15 minutes even here in opening period at Columbus. Changes for both sides. Indiana gets a full 5. Odd man rush all by himself. That's Roberts. Leaves it for Sherman, whose shot gets knocked off a blade and stays in the corner. Now Gustafson heading the wrong direction. Enters the zone. Tries to move through traffic. Kissel's shot gets kicked away. Leg save, and to kicker now, who sends it around turn 1. Kissel chases the puck down into the corner and then leaves it for a teammate. That's Chambers with a no-look dump back toward the trapezoid. With some serious speed now, that's Dieball weaving his way through traffic. And again, Gustafson walks onto the puck in front of his own bench, gets smacked in the hand from behind, and then sidesteps a big hip check. Puck sits on the windowsill and then dribbles back in toward the near side. Rushing in is O'Flaherty, who is finally healthy after missing some time late last season. Won by the Falcons, and a good pass all the way through, splitting the defenders. Here's Cruiser, who had 2 points last night, the only Falcon to get his name on the score sheet more than once.
I miss seeing O'Flaherty in the whole can, Sam.
Those green gloves were something. Gustafson slow to get moving down the ice, and then he's given a little 1-2 action by the defenseman. Puck sliding around the glass on the near side and thrown all the way into open ice, where McDonald steps in and pushes the puck away. 13:32 on the big board, and a big hit behind the cage. Williams ended up on his shin pads, and the referee will step in and do some communicating with the two sides. 13.5 to go here in the first, and the net came off its moorings after Williams and a Falcon collided.
And we saw that happen plenty of times last season. It happened once last night as well, so we got to start keeping track, keep count, a net dislodge counter here on the season.
Some teams last year had a tendency to knock that net off more than others, and it became predictable toward the end of the season, Garrett.
Yeah, intentionally.
Sam Weiss for the Falcons wins the faceoff. Centering pass. Thompson makes a good waffle board save. Back to the near side point. Flicked forward. Off the stick of Stawdasher. Behind the netting, Thompson holds onto the post and hugs it, and the puck gets poked at and whacked right in front of the Indiana bench. No one knows where it is, and now it's gone over the table and onto the kitchen floor, where an Indiana skater has to pick it up at his feet.
Indiana definitely doesn't mind anytime there's a stoppage and they got to go to the faceoff circle. They won 30 out of 51 in the game last night, and Sam, you can do the math. That's much higher than 50%.
Well, these centers are going to be a strength for Indiana all season. O'Flaherty, Chambers, Jeremy, and Brandenburg, all sophomores working the centerman position. Hawkins gets a little shove from behind and directs it on towards Slavin in the corner. No real solid possession, and Jeremy has to take matters into his own hands. Hawkins spinning around halfway, and the puck goes all the way across, shipped down the river, and play blown dead with just 10 seconds under 13 to go here in this opening 20-minute frame. Shots on goal standing at 4-3 in favor of Indiana. Hits are 4-3 in favor of Concordia. Face off to the leather side of Jack Thompson. Jeremy stepping into the dot again. This time battling Sherman. Controlled by Indiana, but Sherman turns tail and spins around, controlling the puck. McDonald takes it off of his twig and then cuts hard, digging his skates into the ice. Pinned up against the boards, and Slavin touches it past. Still bodies getting off the ice as McDonald gloves it down to himself like a bounce pass. He enters the line onside, feeds in the front to Jeremy. It wobbles free right in front of the cage. Slavin smacks away at it. Couldn't get it to go. Trying to yank it back onto his own stick, and he does successfully to Whitliff at the far point. Right in front of that Falcons bench, all staring on, some of them standing up. Here comes the breakout for the Falcons. On the puck, all the way across, centering pass right into Thompson. It's a big collision right in front of the cage. Castle went legs first, and Thompson is lucky to have not sustained any kind of serious injury there. Garrett, that is a scary play to watch, no matter what level or what speed.
Yeah, anytime you see players flying into the goalie, you got to think, skates are in the air. They could get hit somewhere where there's not any padding, and it could really take him out of the game. Thompson appears to be all right, however, and looks like we're going to have a face-off on the left dot here.
And Whitliff will visit the box for the first time this season. A 2-minute minor. So Indiana will be a man down, although Garrett, it's not always as bad as it seems for Indiana when they take a penalty. They did plenty of that last season. They had 5 shorthanded goals over the course of the campaign. Wilderman straddling the line, feeds to the soft area. McKay puts his leg in front of it and kicks it free. Under 12 minutes to go here in the first. Neither side has broken the deadlock yet. Moving across with some pace. Here's Malcolmson. Feeds across. Thompson paddles it up and away, and it flies into the corner.
Nice clear right there.
Again, Indiana able to get a few fresh pairs of legs onto the ice, as Chambers is doing the job of head harasser on the far side. Now taking a few lefts and a few rights, moving in toward the near circle. That's die ball again. Wearing a different number than he normally does. Here we talked about the jersey shipments not coming in on time for everybody, and Indiana had the same problem for the number 23 sweater.
Yeah, and some of the Concordia players have last names on the back of their jerseys as well. Some of them just have the number.
Charging in is Wilderman. He gets stood up by Kicker, who pins him with his backside. Way can't get a one-timer. His stick was lifted, and it's fumbled across the line. 45 seconds remaining on the man advantage for the Falcons, and they haven't had a real sustained attack yet. Spinning around on his left leg. And feeding to the near side. Sam Weiss enters the zone. Gets a little bit of an elbow shiver from Kicker. And now fed in front, going down, successfully blocking the pass right in front of the slot. Indiana defensemen putting their stick on the ice, Garrett. Good technique.
Yeah, and the clearances have been exceptional as well. They haven't had much time to get a stick on it, but they were able to whack past the blue line on multiple occasions.
10 seconds to go on the power play for Concordia. Fed to the far side. Wake kicks it to himself, then flings it into the corner where Castle regroups and redirects. Chipped up high into the air and then bouncing in front of the cage. Wobbled away. Cruiser a shot. Misses the target entirely. And we're back to 5 aside as Thompson watches it go right in front of his blocker on this near side. Another shot. It's knocked away, and a very dangerous redirect off the glove of Thompson.
That was a little too close for comfort right there, similar to the funny hop that got Billis yesterday. And
halfway home in this frame, and Concordia knocks a wobbler past Thompson. Some miscommunication on the Indiana defense, and it's 1-0 Falcons. In the first period here, Garrett, we'll have to watch for the score sheet to see who's credited, but that is Way moving through the line first, and Concordia strikes first.
Alex Way giving the Falcons the early lead. And Sam, if I am correct in this statement, Concordia didn't lead at all yesterday. This is their first lead of the series.
Indiana scored first, and then Concordia matched to end the first period. And from the second on to the end of the final buzzer, it was all Indiana. Face off at center ice, Will Jeremy back in. Seems like he's had a lot of time on the ice, Garrett. Slavin pushes it past to a D-man, and then it's spun around with a no-look pass as Thompson kicks it to himself and lets a teammate in a crimson-colored sweater regroup. Now a whistle blown by the referee, and having some words of caution with a Falcon and a Hoosier.
Looks like we're going to go to the other end of the ice now, and
well, Garrett, your guess is as good as mine.
It's a fortunate break for Indiana. I'm not sure why.
9:26 to go here in the first. Jeremy again setting up shop at the near side dot. Bodies collide and two players end up on their backside. Now turning tail and running the other way is Ty Hogan, getting his first time to dress. Again, Williams fires it all the way across. Never had much of a chance at the target. Hogan gets pinned into the glass. Near corner, fed in front, but instead it's deflected behind the cage. Tommy McDonald power steps as he pushes past the Falcons bench. Angling at the dot, shot right in front of the cage, and deflects out again. Here's Switek, who led the Falcons with points last season. He was a problem last night as well. Did not get on the score sheet, but caused some serious problems. Shot through traffic, deflects off a shin pad, and dangerously into the corner. Switek leaves it on a dummy pass, where Kicker steals it instead. Now off the stick of Stawdasher. Fed in front, backside, scored! Switek gets his first goal of the season, 2-0. A crooked number up on the board for the visitors. 8:46 to go here in the first.
Nobody covered the slot on the other side, Sam, and not much Thompson could do there. That was an easy tuck on the one-timer for Switek. And just like that, Indiana finds themselves down a deuce.
Well, that's not the start that Indiana imagined when they rolled out of bed this morning. But as we mentioned, Switek, a force to be reckoned with last year, and evidently will be the same level player this year. 29 games played, 37 points. Indiana will have to regroup and figure something out. Into the far corner, fed through. Williams stands up and pushes toward Chambers, who gives it a little flick across the blue line. Simino watches it go under him, and he's not able to hold on to it. Again, a quick feed up front. Slapper from way out. Thompson gloves it cleanly and freezes the clock at 8:14 to go here in the opening frame. Shots on goal, 9-5 in favor of the visiting Falcons.
They've been putting a lot of pressure on, no question about that, and Thompson's being tested early on both sides. They're really testing his mobility.
Face-off eventually controlled by Indiana. Led forward to Michelli, who finds himself covered by sweaters of the opposite color. Wilderman dispossesses him and feeds to Gregor on the near side. Gains the zone, and McKay chops at the puck, pushing it into the corner, and gives Wilderman a good shove for good measure. Williams feeds to the far side. There's Michelli. Gets caught under his skates after it hit the official, and then chucks it to nobody in particular. And stepping up on it again is Dieball. He really zigzags across the face of the net, and then deflection going over to the near side to Malcolmson. A big whiff. Gregor tried to step into that. Here comes Null, moving with some pace now. A big body. He shields the puck, takes a shot on. Paddled away. Hawkins finds it in the near side post. And again, Brandenburg tries to level it across. 7 1/4 to go here in the first. charging across the ice in the defending zone for the Falcons and throwing the puck all the way across. So 7 and 8 seconds to go here, Garrett. And what does Indiana have to change to get this ship righted?
Yesterday in the game, we saw the defensemen really staying close to the goalie and blocking a lot of shots. They haven't been able to get into the way of many shots here today. We've seen a couple blocks, but there were definitely a lot more in the game last night, and thus a lot more pressure on Thompson.
A 500 record last year for the Falcons. We talked about their 7-game losing streak when they followed it up by a 5-game winning streak. So they know how to turn the page and move on just like a golf shoot would. There goes Offenbach. He sprawls out, belly flopping before regaining his composure. Under 7 to go. 2-0 the score. Concordia, a quick deuce up on the board.
We've seen a couple players blow a tire here in the past minute or so. Maybe the ice isn't as good as it was yesterday.
3 different players on their hands and knees. The puck finally rolls between somebody's legs. And moving with some serious pace now, here's Palmerio. Feeds it to the far side. A quick shot. Thompson doesn't have to make a save, and a good cross check forces one Falcon. That's Castle, who went shoulder first into the far side post, knocking the net loose.
This first period definitely been a lot slower than what we saw yesterday. Still 6:20 remaining. And what feels like it's been an eternity so far.
Only change to the active roster, Brandon Ballweg was scratched, and in his place is Nick Roberts. Diagonal pass that is controlled by the Falcons and then chipped up against the glass where kicker swats at it. Hand pass will be the call after no Concordia player was there to make contact, so 6:06 up on the big board here in the first.
And we're going to have another face-off.
Indiana's gone cold from the dot. It's now a dead heat in faceoffs, Garrett.
And that wasn't very often last year where Indiana was behind in the faceoff battle. I think maybe only a couple games out of 30 plus. That one went right into the chest of Thompson off the faceoff.
So 5 seconds come off the clock, Garrett. And it seems like the vibes are completely different than they were last night. The crowd isn't quite as big, but certainly for a Saturday afternoon, 45 minutes away from campus, we've got to give credit to the fans again.
Yeah, they're showing out. I think there's some Columbus locals in the crowd as well, but I'm sure they enjoy not having to go to Bloomington to watch the team play.
Puck gets pulled away off the faceoff, and Gustafson finds himself in front of all kinds of white sweaters. Flung across the boards. Williams racing across to the far side, but he was a little too eager and then smacks McKay around. McKay got into a shoving match in last night's contest, and grudge match is really the correct word to use here.
Yeah, McKay was throwing bodies around last night as well. Spent some time in the box. I thought Indiana got fortunate on that last play that offsides wasn't called, but then they ended up calling it on Concordia, so a double whammy for the Falcons right there.
5 3/4 to go in period number 1. A pair on the board for Concordia. Indiana wins the faceoff. Williams heading the wrong direction, spins it in the near side corner where Gustafson cruises around. He fishes it free, but it's stolen again. Tied up on the far side, and the redirect stays in the zone miraculously, but hits the chest of Way, who plays it forward toward Cruiser, and then he tries to clothesline McKay, and a big collision with a stick flying. Somebody got hit up high, no whistle, and it looks like Sam Weiss is really struggling to get back to the bench. In some serious discomfort, here's O'Flaherty gaining entrance. He avoids a check. Gustafson moving forward, and then O'Flaherty had a little jab after the puck was free. Charging the other way, Cruiser gets stepped in front of by Will Kicker, who made his way as quickly as he possibly could. To Sherman in front, a quick shot just off the far side of the cage and into the near corner. Under 5 to play. Falcons will circle the wagons as Indiana gets a change, and still there's 2 blue gloves and a stick over in the Indiana defensive zone on the far side. To Way, his shot up the chest and into the air. Thompson just stood there and tried to make the best save he could. Kicker goes down into a heap. Looked like he was in some trouble as well. Fed in front, poked away. Good stick use by Thompson. all the way by himself. Switek, a glove save, and then a kick away by Thompson. He has had his work cut out, and the puck sails into the tin foil. Clock stopping at just under 4:20 to go here in the first.
Bit of a wild sequence there, Sam, and Weiss is still in some discomfort on the bench. As you mentioned, he left his stick and gloves on the ice and went straight over and was visibly frustrated when he got there.
Thompson has had to make several 5-alarm saves. In the dot, and just as we said that, Garrett, Thompson swallows it up, leaning over to one side to make the save, and 4:12 on the clock. That's now 2 or 3 very instantaneous shots off the draw that the Falcons have had in the attacking zone. This time Sherman plays it to himself off the draw, fed in front, Thompson stands up, and then flops onto his knees, butterflies to protect the net, and sweaters of opposite colors converge right in front of the crease, having a few words for each other.
If you're Indiana, you just got to find a way to clear the zone here. Concordia have been putting on a lot of pressure in this past minute.
Handed off to Slavin. He feeds it through, but it is knocked free, and Hawkins has to chase it down. Picks up the trash, and then to McDonald, who can't play it correctly. It bobbles off of his stick and smacks into the Indiana bench. It looked like it nearly smoked Hagen Wells in the face.
Everybody's definitely awake now over there if they weren't before.
A lot of newcomers to this team, 14 freshmen, Garrett. We've talked about that ad nausea, I think it's fair to say. Hagen Wells, the freshman netminder from Carmel, Indiana, and the Culver Academy prep team. Into the far corner, Michelli leans up and tries to sit on the windowsill to avoid a big hit, but he gets bruised up on the glass anyway. Both teams have not been afraid to finish their checks. Into the corner, now rolling around is Malcolmson. He tries to feed it back, and it's intercepted. Here's Simoneau kicking it to himself at the blue line, enters the slot, gets punched away. Michelli, a quick one-timer. Big bodies and big checks right in front of the crease, jamming at it. The play is whistled dead, and now Simoneau is being WWE wrestled into the crease, and another punch being thrown. That's the second day in a row where we've seen a legitimate punch straight to somebody's head and not had an ejection.
And it's Willie who got Wilderman out of there. Usually it looks like Wilderman was trying to defend his goalie, but Willie said, hey, that's enough.
This conversation's not over, Garrett. They were talking to each other the entire way, and they are still eye to eye and nose to nose as far as they can possibly go in their respective penalty boxes. They better lock those doors shut to the scorer's table, Garrett.
And I don't know if I've ever seen a netminder pull one of his players off of an opponent like that before, Sam.
I think Sammy Billis had to protect his boys against the Chicago Cougars in the preseason last year, but that's probably the only example I've ever seen. And Garrett, it's interesting to note for Indiana, they have not declared a captain yet, or alternate captains for that matter, and it looks like McKay may be the one doing the on-ice duties, talking to the officials as they sort out everything and discuss what's going on.
They got a double minor on Wilderman here.
2-0 the score, 3:17 in the first. And that's Aiden Simoneau sitting down for a misdemeanor. On the other side, looks like Wyatt Wilderman, the senior from Wisconsin or Montana, depending on which roster you're going by. He'll be there for 4 minutes.
We'll have a 4-on-4 for 2, and then a power play for the Hoosiers after that.
Right, URG. Just over 3 to play here in the first. Indiana will try to right this tide and move in the right direction before the break. McDonald tries to force his way through and muscling all the way across, and a whistle blown. Delayed call in favor of the Falcons. McDonald trying to right his mistake. Instead, it's played forward, and Wilderman can't hold on to the puck. Whistle blown, and Tommy McDonald knows exactly where he's going, unfortunately. And there have been some really physical battles all the way up to the crease on both sides.
And that's not what you want if you're Indiana. 4-on-3 hockey now in favor of Concordia.
Well, Garrett, I don't think discipline is necessarily the primary issue. It's a physical game, and the referees are calling it tight at the moment. Face-off Juan, fed over toward the other brother of Wilderman, who works the blue line. Again, a one-timer on the ground, a worm burner. Austin Williams scoops it up and then gets tangled and twisted around in the far corner. Along the half dasher, poked free, McKay jamming in there.
They got to get it out here.
A big collision. The referee didn't see it. That could have been boarding. Dangerous. To the near side, that's die ball. Puck again wobbling all the way across, and Wilderman steps up in front of the Indiana bench to retain the zone. Still a 4-on-4. 4-on-3. A shot through traffic. Tried to get a deflection. That was Malcolmson right next to the far post. A one-timer, swing and a miss like a baseball bat. Sam Weiss back onto the ice, his first shift that we've seen, Garrett.
And with it being a 4-on-3, Sam, Indiana's got to keep that triangle shape down by the goal. They can't overcommit. They got to stay in their lane.
And can't take another penalty trying to be overly physical. Again, hanging around finally toward Cruiser. Back up toward Malcolmson. Fed across to the soft space and punched away by the right hand of Thompson. Scooting in is Brandenburg. He sent it diagonally all the way across. We're at 90 seconds to go. And before this penalty expires for Simino, Tommy McDonald will stay in the box, and Swiatek will stay there as well. Wilderman will stay in the box. Indiana will gain a man, and back to even Steven for the moment. Charging up the ice is Palmario on the near side. He tries to throw a reverse hit. Hawkins sidesteps and gives him a good nudge. Williams avoids the referee and loses possession. Fed in front, one-timer. Whacked away under the leg and over the stick of Wyatt. And now toward Way.
Indiana about to go on the power play here.
Under a minute to go in the first. Indiana trailing by 2. Scooped up in no man's land by Way. He works the outside tally marks. Hawkins stepping in and colliding to win possession back. Referee jumps over the puck, and the puck stays in its spot in that far corner. Half a minute to go. Jeremy trying to reach into Hawkins' legs and pull the puck free. Slow to get back up. That was Hawkins who lost a glove. Now attacking is Slavin on the far side. Past the hash marks and into the end zone. Smacked around to the corner where it spins halfway through turn 2. 15 seconds to go. 1-on-2 rush. Sherman pulls it back onto himself. There's Williams. He is harassed by Jeremy, who scoops it away. 5 seconds to go, and Indiana will retreat after pulling themselves all the way back. And that's how the period ends, with fisticuffs on the far side. Jeremy getting into it. And they are all giving each other a good face wash. And Garrett, I would have to assume, sharing shampoo and conditioner as well.
And on that last Indiana rush, it looked like McKay was getting grabbed, and a lot of fans wanted to call official let it go, and McKay got away with a little slash on the stick there, so might have been a little lenient letting the referee let that one go. But
there's definitely some uneasiness in both benches and some hesitancy to head all the way to the locker room after some games last year. After the final buzzer for Indiana against their opponents turned into a melee. We saw that against Michigan once and against another opponent, Garrett. You can't be too safe. You got to support your boys before you go hit the shower.
No question about that, because they're going to take that into the locker room with them. You got to know you have your boys back, and so far each team sticking up for one another.
Well, in this first 20-minute period, Concordia vastly outperforming Indiana. 18 shots to 6 for the Falcons. Indiana winning the hits battle by 2. And the faceoffs were in favor of Indiana early, but Concordia won 14 of the 26, and they now have the control of the dot. We'll take a break and let the Zamboni do a few laps before we bring it back for the intermission show and period number 2. 2-0, the Falcons on top of the Hoosiers here in Columbus. Garrett Drake alongside me, I'm Sam Weixler. This is the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network.
Here in period number 2 from Columbus, I'm Garrett Drake alongside Kelsey Dennehy, and Kelsey in the first period. Concordia jumped out to a 2-0 lead, and it was really the polar opposite of what we saw yesterday.
They really were playing a totally different game, and part of it I wonder is how much time they had to prepare. I mean, they were here probably only 30 minutes before the game last night, and today they were here early and ready to go.
Indiana on the man advantage for another 15 seconds, but it looks like nothing is going to materialize out of it. Kissel hits the deck. McDonald swooping in, but he lost the puck. And that'll do it for the Indiana power play. We are back to 5-on-5 hockey as Kissel limping to the bench in pain. Looks like he might have took a shot to the leg. Indiana unable to clear, and now they do. Racing up with the puck and deking between the legs there, right there, was number 28 for the Hoosiers. That's going to be Emilio Arana, one of the newcomers. Back on the far side, McDonald with the puck. He crosses one over. Just missed the stick of McKay as he was looking for the one-time opportunity. Arana gets pummeled into the glass as he lets that backhand go. And Concordia with a rush here. It's going to be a 3-on-2 in Indiana favor, and they win possession. Arana trying to go between the legs again, gets upended right there. That was number 66, Lucas Hefty, taking his legs out.
We've seen a lot of what we saw in the third period for the Hoosiers last night, which was a lot of chaos in their defensive zone, a lot of turnovers in the neutral zone, which is something that they can't afford right now, being down 2-0.
We've also seen the face-offs even out a little bit today. Indiana with a 9-win advantage in the game last night, but Concordia actually leading the face-off battle slightly early in this one. Brandenburg wins that draw. And here's a shot sent on by Offenbach that goes wide, and it'll be covered again by Mack right there. Mack Willie.
There's a couple different Concordia players who we didn't see play last night who we were expecting to that have made an appearance and made an appearance big time tonight, including Mack Willie.
Off the draw, Indiana able to gain possession, but then it's taken away by Alex Way for the Falcons. Deep in his own zone. Concordia had to touch up as Cruiser was going to get whistled for an offside. And now Matt McKay trying to find a man. He gets Offenbach into the attacking zone. Castracane with a shot, and it's deflected out wide. That was actually Austin Williams, number 15. Thought I saw 16 for a second. That one deflected out in front. Just missed the stick of Brandenburg. Brandenburg chilling down low in the crease, trying to put some pressure on Willie. Billis calling for the icing, or not Billis, Thompson, he's not going to get it. That one high off the glass and gloved down and taken there by Wyatt Wilderman, who spent some time in the penalty box. He got a double minor in the first. Here's a shot saved by Thompson, the puck leaking out in dangerous position, but no harm done. Bringing the puck into the zone now for the Falcons is Malcolmson. He crosses one, a shot saved by Thompson as he sprawled out to the left side to get that one. A big hit against the board. Simino sends Wilderman to the deck, and you know he's not going to like that one. Good job right there by Chambers to pick off that crossing pass, and now here come the Hoosiers in a 3-on-2. Just as I say that, Simino unable to enter the zone, so Concordia has time to catch up. McKay finding Simino once again. Now Chambers swooping in. He plays one off the boards that goes behind to be played by Mack Willie. Gregor on the far side looking for a lane. Swooping in, he finds Ian Malcolmson. Malcolmson lets one go that hits the blocker of Thompson. Looks like it might have got a piece of the ceiling, but we play on. Andrew Hawkins again wearing number 4 today for Indiana, usually in the number 10 sweater. Simino with a shot gloved down and saved by Willie.
Simino's seen a lot of action in front of the net tonight. He was the one who got in the scrum with Wilderman, who ended up taking a double minor, and it looks like he's not ready to give off super easy.
We've seen lots of chatter happening after the whistle in both of the games so far.
I think it's a mixture of frustration from last night for Concordia and frustration for right now from the Hoosiers.
One thing we saw from Indiana last year, even when they were trailing, they didn't really get frustrated once they were under Coach Andrew Weiss. They always kept their composure, and they're definitely still in the game. They know they have a chance no matter what, especially after what they did in Ann Arbor last year, coming down 4 goals, I believe it was.
Absolutely. Now it's just about transitioning those freshmen into that mindset as well.
Here's a giveaway in their own zone by Concordia. Shot deflected off of Willie. No damage done. And now the Falcons coming the other way. The clock is not running. It's still at 16:04. It has been for the whole possession. Nobody seemed to notice yet. Castle in the near corner. Here comes Slavin, and we're going to get an offsides here. And a stoppage. And Indiana picks up a penalty in the process. That one's going to go against Gustafson. So we might get some extra hockey in this period, as I don't think anybody realized the clock didn't start.
Except for the fans who were screaming the entire time it didn't move.
Now the clock is running. We're under 16 minutes to play now. Willie plays that one over. Alex Way looking for a lane. Pressure being applied by Brandenburg for the Hoosiers, but he's quite outnumbered 4-1. Cruiser plays one to Way. Castle swooping around. Now Way has it on his stick again. Weiss breaks the zone. He got injured in the first period and went to the bench in pain, but he's back. That one off the chest of Thompson, and they score. The initial shot was sent on net by Michael Fredette, and the rebound tapped in by Way. He's got goal number 2 on the day, and it's 3-0 in favor of the Falcons.
That's been an issue for the Hoosiers tonight, is the coverage in front of the net and just being able to pick up sticks and clear pucks. They've had it a couple times, but those rebounds are popping out, and Concordia guys are really just hanging out and ready to go for that rebound.
It's been a different Indiana team on the ice so far compared to what we saw in a 7-2 thumping yesterday. Nowhere near as many opportunities, even shots. Indiana struggled to get any pucks on net. Here's another one sent by Thompson, and now he's far out of the crease. Swooping in, and another shot on Thompson gets by him. Puck is still loose. There's Indiana players in the net, and they score again. Just like that, it's 4-0. And let's see who gets the goal this time. It looks like it's going to be number 12, Scott Greger, for Concordia. And 2 goals less than a minute apart scored on Thompson. The lead has now doubled. It's 4-0.
It was sort of the same idea as the second goal. They really weren't in there to cover for him, and it was just a mad dash.
Coming out of the net is Willie. He collides with a man behind. I believe that was Gustafson, and he's able to cover with 14:50 remaining. Willie and Gustafson getting physical a little bit as he came out of the net. Indiana wins the draw. Here's a shot sent on, deflected out in front. Kissel, and he took a whack after the play. Pushing and shoving going on behind the net between Kissel and Stu Dasher back there.
Jack O'Flaherty taking a poke at it as well. Looks like they're going to head to the box for a matching.
It's going to be O'Flaherty for Indiana going to the box, and Garrett Wilderman. And it seems like the Hoosiers are starting to lose their composure a little bit, down 4-0 in what is going to be an immense early season test right here.
This is a different Hoosier team than we're used to seeing. I mean, all those games last season where they were down and they were able to come back, notably the Michigan game where they scored 5 unanswered goals. And things are looking a little bit different, but we'll see if they're able to pull it together and get some pucks in the back of the net.
And it will be a 4-on-4, so each team has to have one player retreat to the bench. And now there's 2 players in the box for both sides. I'm not sure who they're serving penalties for. They put Arana in there for IU, and another Falcon joined the box as well. There is only one for each team up on the scoreboard currently. I don't think anybody knows what's going on right now.
I'm curious about what happened with the slash on Kissel after the whistle. That rhymed. Because, I mean, there was a little bit of a scrum after, but that wasn't really the main event, and the ref seemed to pretty much disregard that.
Indiana wins the face-off. Kicker sends one on net, deflected up high and gloved easily by Willie. We saw Indiana have immense success on the 4-on-4 last season. At times they almost played better on the 4-on-4 than they did at full strength, but we'll see how the story plays out this year. That one sent on by Whitliff and blocked out in front. Off the leg right there of Stu Dasher, and he's feeling that one a little bit as he heads down the ice. Swiatek takes a big hit, and he goes down. Whitliff gets hit up high, and now Kissel in the far corner battling for it. Out in front they go, and the puck is grabbed by Whitliff. Indiana with numbers here as Jeremy races up the ice. Will Jeremy slashing in, and he gets checked off the puck. And that one sent around by Wilderman. Whitliff deflected that one, and it hit a couple bodies before flying wide. Swiatek racing in. He gets checked off the puck by McKay. McKay wins the battle and plays one over to McDonald. Tommy swooping in, goes to the backhand. He flings one in on Willie, and it looks like it got away from him, but it goes behind the net. McDonald able to hold the zone. Jeremy with him. Tommy plays it off his skate. Back to the point, it's sent on, and a save made by Willie.
The Hoosiers have had a pretty nice transition in those past couple seconds, getting a lot of more offensive opportunities. You can tell they're kind of got a fire under them. And 4-on-4, like you said, is their strong suit. So we'll see if they can hold on to it for the last 42 seconds.
They've been getting a lot more opportunities in terms of shots on goal on the 4-on-4 than what we've seen throughout the rest of the game. They really haven't had any golden chances like we saw yesterday. Hoosiers win the draw once again. McKay trying to find a lane. That one blocked right out in front by Castle. McDonald battling for it. And the puck is won by number 90 for Concordia, Thomas Dyball. Thompson whacks that one out, and it goes all the way down to be played by the other goalie as back-to-back touches made by the goalkeepers. That's not something that happens very often. McKay off the boards to Tommy. A nice move around, and Thompson able to hold that one, and bodies colliding once again after the whistle. That was Jacob Palmerio getting in there.
With Austin Williams, it looks like the refs tonight are a lot more eager to jump in than the refs last night were. I mean, they really hardly called much, and there was a decent amount that could have been called, but tonight is definitely a different story. We've seen a lot of penalty box action.
Hawkins swooping around to the far side. He skids one up. Concordia able to reverse course and go the other way. Way sends that one behind to Weiss. Weiss gets muscled off the puck, and it's taken by Chambers as a battle ensues. At the blue line, a shot sent on by Wilderman, nowhere close to being on net as it goes wide to the right. Simino tried finding Michelli leaking out, but it went just wide. Willie coming out of the net, and the Hoosiers unable to hold the zone. And we had a delayed call here. Indiana going back to a man down, it appears. It's going to go against number 26 for the Hoosiers. That's going to be Ty Hogan.
I had just sent out the updating tweet on 5-on-5 even strength, and it looks like I'm going to have to type up another one.
And if you're Indiana right now, you don't want to be spending any time a man down if you don't have to, down 4-zip. Wilderman plays that one over. Here's a shot sent on, deflected out front by a couple Hoosiers, and it never tested Thompson. Puck in neutral ice, kicker trying to reverse course. Coming away with it and working his way in is going to be Paul Mario. He's unable to generate any offense out of that opportunity. Racing the other way with the puck is Malcolmson. He crosses one. Williams with a shot saved up high. That one nearly hit the helmet of Thompson, and we got bodies colliding out in front once again as Paul Mario getting in there.
It almost seems like every time Concordia goes to take a shot on Thompson, nobody's quite where they need to be, and then it's like a mad dash to where he is, to where the puck is, and then it just ends in a scrum, which we've seen almost every time he's covered up a puck.
Off the draw, shot sent on. That one went high and wide. That was off the stick of Cruiser right there. McKay again battling for the puck with Castle and Cruiser behind the net. Indiana had it momentarily, but now the Falcons have other ideas. Weiss at the blue line. Swooping in. Now he goes all the way around and finds Way. Way from the dot sends one on, deflected out front. Got another stoppage and
mid shot too.
looks like we might have a face-off at neutral ice here. Not really sure what happened. Might have been a high stick, perhaps.
A little crease interference.
Castle in the corner. Rings one over to Way. Way lost the puck, and now the Hoosiers go the other way. They have McKay and Simino working in. McKay shoots one that goes up high and hits Willie in the shoulder and then off the ceiling.
This is something the Hoosiers struggled with last season too, was hitting the net, which they've done a good job. I mean, last night hitting the net, obviously they scored 7 goals, but today's been a little trickier where they're getting shots, but they're getting them too high or they're going wide of the net, and there's not really much you can do with a shot like that.
Kicker sends one on net that got deflected and goes wide. Now the puck is grabbed by Lucas Hefty, but Chambers applying pressure trying to win it back. Hefty going to center off the stick of Castle, and now he got to go back to get it. Willie wanted icing, but he's not going to get that call as the puck didn't cross over center ice. A bit of a stalemate behind the net as multiple players from both teams trying to get the puck free from the boards. Battle continues. Players hit the deck, and coming out with it is Cruiser. Castle gets slashed at by a shot sent up that deflects up high again. Nearly hit the searing. That was Whitliff getting back. That one off the side of the net, and Whitliff goes behind to get the puck. He pitchforks one on over to Slavin. Whitliff dangling. He shoots and he scores. What a move by Henry Whitliff. And just like that, Indiana trying to battle back in this one. Whitliff with his second goal of the season. Actually, I take that back. That is his first.
A lot of rookies contributing tonight. He did have a really great game last night, so it's easy to get him in with the mix of rookies who did score. But that was a great play, and it's definitely a little kick that the Hoosiers needed to start and pick up some momentum, especially after having so many guys hanging out in the box.
And one that he won't soon forget. First collegiate goal for Henry Whitliff. And Indiana trying to claw back. We're down to 8:52 to play in the second. And they take 25% off the Concordia lead. Doyle sends one on that's paddled away by Thompson. And Indiana racing the other way again. Slavin has McDonald with him. He sends it behind the net. McDonald lays a hit on Williamson, and then they collide, or Wilderman, excuse me. McDonald touches up, and now Wilderman coming through. He plays one off the backboards. That's taken out of the zone by Brandenburg. Hawkins plays one over that's poked at by Slavin. Slavin able to bat that puck out of the air to keep an attack from coming. Race for the puck, and it's going to be won by Concordia as Jeremy was in pursuit, but he couldn't quite get there in time. Now leaking out, that would have been offsides if it was touched by the Concordia player. That was Malcolmson creeping in. And the Hoosiers able to escape. McKay working through the neutral zone. He gets in. He sends one over and just missed the stick of Jeremy right there. A golden opportunity gone to waste. With the puck behind the net and playing one over is Fredette. That one got under the skate of McKay. Now he's going to have to go back to get the puck. Brandenburg chopping at it, and now we see a collision right in front of us with Williams. Brandenburg trying to win the battle, and the puck goes all the way around to the far side. 6:47 to play, second period here in Columbus. Multiple players now hitting the deck. Brandenburg gets tied up along the boards. Puck kept in by Whitliff right there, and now he goes back to get it once again. Whitliff trying to put the moves on, but he gets poke checked. Williams coming in. He flings one up that gets deflected high off the chest of Fredette. Kissel battling near the crease, trying to get pushed out of there by Judge. That one shot right into the chest off the stick of Brandenburg, and an easy save made by Willie.
That was a smart play by Williams to take it back. You could tell he wanted to kind of try and drag it in and get in front of the net himself, but he was able to pull it back, and they were able to regroup and get a nice shot off.
Indiana able to win the draw. Simino on the far side gets checked off the puck. And that one spun around by Lucas Hefty. That puck goes all the way down, and it's going to be icing on the goaltender Thompson here as he doesn't help his own cause there.
I mean, he's got a pretty good shot. He's proven it a couple times tonight. But it is tricky to see them go back into their own zone because they've been struggling a lot there tonight, and they need to start generating more opportunities like the one that Whitliff got in the offensive zone.
For those of you watching at home, our camera batteries didn't quite have as much juice as we hoped. The cold confines of the Hamilton Ice Center definitely drained them a lot quicker than we're used to, so we will be going to an audio-only broadcast once our camera finally meets its demise. Out in front, saved by Willie.
Andrew Chambers saw the opportunity there, and he gave it his best shot, but it was too much chaos in front of the net to get it right through his 5-hole.
Once we lose the camera, we'll go to a radio-style broadcast with our score bug and clock still on the screen for you. It's week 1 for everybody.
Especially the cameras.
That's right.
We did actually get new cameras, so we're just learning all the ropes.
Our first time testing them out this week, and we realized we might need an extra battery. That one gloved down, and it's going to be a pass to himself and offside.
That was a pretty good catch, though.
It was.
I mean, he saw it, and he grabbed it, and he was ready to go.
That was Palmario getting in there again.
Jeremy's lining up for the face-off, hoping to generate some offense here with 5 minutes to go in the second period.
Off the draw, it's taken by Jeremy. He gets muscled off the puck, and now coming the other way for Concordia is Dieball. Thompson sprawling out. We're down to 5 minutes to play, as Kelsey mentioned, and out in front, a shot, they score. It's set up, and Castle put it in off a feed right there from, trying to see the number, it was 20-something. It's going to be, let's see, number 28 for Concordia. That is Easton Williams picking up the apple on that.
I mean, he was just hanging out in front of the net by himself, ready to go, stick on the ice. He didn't even have to move. So that is definitely telling to the defensive setup tonight. And it looks like there's going to be some reevaluating going on for this next couple minutes of play.
Tommy Castle makes it 5-1 as we creep under the 5-minute mark. That one goes flying into the Indiana bench, sending Coach Matt Granda scrambling to try to not take that one to the face. McKay playing one back into the neutral zone to be taken by the Falcons. McKay got that one intercepted, trying to connect with McDonald, but the Hoosiers able to survive. Jeremy racing to the other end. Williams lets one go that goes wide off the stick. Slavin sends one on that didn't really test Willie much. He's seen some harder saves than that today. Jeremy at the blue line trying to dodge his way through defenders. He cuts back. One-timer set up, and McDonald had one saved by Willie off the shoulder.
That was a beautiful save.
McKay racing all the way back to get that one, and it's going to be an icing against the Falcons. So they will be unable to change as well. Our camera still holding strong so far. It's got to be any second now.
Proving strong in its last final minutes.
It's like when your phone gets down to 1%.
You're just waiting.
But it seems to last a lot longer when it's on 1 than when it's on 20.
Exactly.
Kissel playing one back. Running into the referee right there was Gustafson. 3 minutes remaining in the second period. O'Flaherty trying to win the battle against Concordia's Stodasher back there, and now here come the Falcons. Weiss lets one go that gets deflected right as soon as he let that one off his stick. Good job by the Indiana defense to collapse. 2:45 remaining in the second. Swiatek sends one right into the glove of Thompson. And again, Weiss getting into it with some Hoosiers down there.
I think the end of this second period is going to be a good time for the Hoosiers to take a second and regroup. There looks to be kind of an even pace of frustration coming out of them, but a break will be nice to regroup and get settled.
Thompson forced to make a save off the faceoff once again there. Concordia has just been letting them fly off the draw. Whitliff going back into the corner to receive that one. Indiana in the attacking zone. Another rugby scrum in the corner. No sign of the puck yet. And now it's taken and tripped up as Semino, and he loses possession. It's going to be a penalty. Tripping is the call, and it looks like it's going on number 66, Lucas Hefty. So Indiana will go to the PP.
This is a great opportunity to close out the period on a high note and let that momentum simmer and build in the locker room before they come back out for the third.
We've got 2:11 remaining in the frame. The camera has not died yet. Wex is going out to retrieve the other battery. So we'll see. Maybe we can make it halfway through the third with some video for you guys as well. McDonald sending one up. It's taken there by Jeremy. Will centers one a shot. Kissel goes just wide. Kissel had a goal negated yesterday off goalie interference. And now racing the other way is Dieball. He gets run into, and we're still going. Jeremy loses that one. Doyle nearly had a breakaway, but he lost the puck. Whitliff carrying into the zone. Minute 15 left on the Indiana power play. McDonald whiffed on that attempt. He centers one, but nobody was there. Indiana power play will last until the final 10 seconds of the second here in a 5-1 Concordia lead. McKay. Willie comes out of the net. Michelli trying to set up something. 40 seconds left on the man advantage. That one into the chest of Willie and now retrieved on the backside by Gustafson. Slavin still looking, finds Michelli up top by the blue line. Michelli lets one go that gets deflected up into the ceiling with 31 seconds to go.
It'll be interesting to see what they come out with after this second intermission in terms of goaltending and defensive strategy. I'm curious if Coach Weiss will decide to put Sammy Billis back in for the third, or if he's just going to leave it be and see what happens.
At this point, you got to think he wouldn't put Sammy in there unless Indiana's able to cut into the deficit a little more. Don't want to risk him getting hurt, obviously, in the second game as well. So we'll see what Coach Weiss is thinking. Maybe he might try to get some of the younger guys some reps as well in a blowout.
Absolutely. And, I mean, they contributed quite a bit last night, so who knows? Could be the place of turnaround for them.
10 seconds remaining in the period, and that's going to be an offside. Call it a hand pass / offside. Either way, they're not going to get to keep the puck. Camera still going with 7.8 seconds remaining.
Clinging on to life.
We're going to send it to a break here as soon as the period ends to try to get the batteries switched out, see how long the other one lasts, and that'll do it. Concordia adds to their lead in the second. The scoreboard reads 5-1 after this frame. And Kelsey, what did you see from that period?
It was pretty chaotic in their defensive zone. I mean, we've mentioned it quite a couple of times, but there seemed to be a lot of floating Falcons in the range of Thompson. And, you know, there's really not much he can do when he's scrambling for the puck and there's a bunch of bodies that he can't control. So it'll be interesting to see what happens going into the third, if they change things up or if they just look to bear down and focus on those little things.
We're going to send it to a quick break. We've got 20 more minutes of action remaining in this one. For Kelsey Dennehy, I'm Garrett Drake. We will see you in the third here at the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network.
Well, blink and you'll miss it. These Falcons are about to fly their way home after 20 minutes. The final frame here in Game 2 of this two-game series between non-league opponents, the Indiana Hoosiers and the Concordia-Wisconsin Falcons. A 4-goal margin after 40 minutes, as immediately the puck won and then sent all the way back for the attack is Castle. Stolen back on the far boards, driving into the zone. McKay squeaks by a man. One-timer over to Jeremy. He rolls around, kicked away, and flung free on the right leg of Dieball. Into the far corner, McKay squishes his man against the glass, and the puck slides across the blue line. 30 seconds into this final frame, Garrett, and we've seen weirder things happen with Indiana. Do you think they have it in the tank today?
Well, one thing we learned last season is you can never count them out unless, they're down by, I'd say 6 or 7 goals. I'd probably draw the line, but anything's still possible in this one, no question.
Slavin gets a clean entry, but the shot not so much. It deflects off a leg pad and into the trapezoid. Jamming at it, that's O'Flaherty going into the corner. He spent 10 minutes in the box for a misconduct after he and Wilderman got into a bit of a dust-up. Again, the puck slammed against the boards and finally cleared free. And a big open ice hit. That was Williams laying the boom. And the whistle's been blown. He is motionless on the ice, Garrett, and they are immediately calling for the trainer. Finally, he's able to roll over onto his side. And that was a really big open ice hit.
And it looked like Williams didn't even know. Well, I guess they were both named Williams, but Austin Williams for IU, he was carrying the puck into the zone, and it looks like he didn't even know that Easton Williams was there. And then there was a big collision, looked like a blindside hit.
Garrett, that looks like one of the videos you'd see on a YouTube compilation of biggest hits in the NHL. Puck flung all the way across. Indiana has to turn around and find it in their own end zone. Gustafson lets it go between his legs, and it's pounded into the near side corner. Flick free to the reverse, and stolen by Way. He tries to center it. Hops up off a stick, and now Gustafson with himself some space. Through the center circle, 2 men on him. By himself now, a shot right past the glove and into the back. Willie slides over and bodies go flying. We're going to have a massive humanity. Punches being thrown again, and some serious grappling. Looks like doing the most of the heavy lifting is Stawdasher against one Hoosier skater. And boy, these guys are not going to take a deep breath until they're on the bus.
We've seen over the past 2 days these teams building a dislike for each other, and it only continues as we approach 2 minutes into the third period here. Sam, Kelsey and I were talking last period. These camera batteries right now, they're acting like iPhones at 1%. They just refuse to die.
We're playing with house money, Garrett. We'll see how far we can get this weekend. 18:07 to go here in the third. Indiana in red from left to right. The Falcons of Concordia-Wisconsin from right to left in white and blue. Punched back into the zone, but no whistle blown as Indiana retreated. They give possession up, and Way meets the puck halfway across the zone. Kick to himself, and then wiggling into the center circle before Chambers moves on toward it. He slides the puck around the first turn, and then jumps into the corner after Way, throwing a hip into him. Referee jumps over the puck, and then it rolls behind the net. Tangled up, and finally pushed away to the near side to Way. He gets a poke check, and the puck bounces right into the glove of Mac Willie. 17.5 to go in the third.
And again, we see chirping after the whistle as both lines heading to the bench for a swap. But Sam, if Indiana wants any hope in this one, they got to get a goal. You got to think before the 15-minute mark at least. They need a quick one.
Face-off one on the near side. A quick shot from Null outside the circle, and it careens into the far corner. Indiana's going to have to set up some sort of sustained attack eventually. Seems like the chemistry just isn't quite what it was yesterday after Weiss changed the lines up pretty decently before this second game. McKay surveying his options, finally decides Brandenburg's the man to go to. And the D-men try to communicate as Brandenburg sets up shop behind the house. Null dumps it, leaves it for Williams, who zigzags and nearly nutmegs his opponent. The puck wobbles across and redirects into the far corner. Now in front of the Indiana bench, Greger steamrolls the referee. That's the linesman over there, but he stays on his skates. Now McKay gains the zone. To the far point, and a big hit late as someone went head first into the boards. Appears to be Scott Greger. Held on the far side by his own bench. Now a little give and go to Dieball. He takes it right down the middle, beats his man, thinks about it. His shot is tipped away and scooped out of the crease. Into the near side glass before it slides uncontested and met by McKay. Long slap shot from 100 feet away, goes toward the glass, and Indiana will hold on to it in their own end zone. 16 and change to go here in the third. 5-1 the score. Indiana trailing for the first time this season. Admittedly, Garrett, that isn't saying a whole lot as this is game 2. Kicker has to spin around and is chased by Sherman, who knocks it away from him. Now to the far side, Malcolmson, as Tommy McDonald circles all the way around and shields the puck. Cuts back in toward the middle, has the puck on its edge, and now enters the zone by himself. A whole swarm of bodies charge at him, and he's dispossessed in traffic. Whitliff has to skate backward, gets his man, and then the puck flies free. One-timer attempt by Switek. He's already got a goal. And he pitchforks it to the far point. Now to Neer. D-to-D pass. Flung in, kicked away by Thompson. That was dangerous. A lot of traffic in front, Garrett. Corralled at center ice, and then a long 9-iron chip nearly goes into the glove of Thompson. It looked like he missed it in the lights.
You mentioned the traffic in front of Thompson, and he's really, looks like he's getting his vision obstructed. He's having to move around, duck his head to try to see where the puck is.
Puck still up against the yellow on the far corner. Under 15 to play in regulation. Knocked around. That's Emilio Arana who gets it clear, but instead the Falcons do just the same, and Indiana back already in their own third. Whacked against the boards and off the linesman's shin pad under Kissel's skate on the far side. Gives it up for Arana. He can't quite corral it. O'Flaherty's quick shot. A wrister and batted out of the air by Arana into the trapezoid. One-timer from Hawkins into the leg pads and held on to. We're going to have more extracurricular activity as Kissel gets smacked on the backside of his head. 14-17 to go in the final frame. And Garrett, we said it the last time there was a stoppage in play. These guys aren't going to quit.
They're going to keep getting shots on net until the final buzzer here today. Fortunately for Indiana, they'll have plenty of time to do it. It seems like since the third period started, they've spent quite a lot of time in the attacking zone. A lot more time than they did in the first two. So if they just keep getting them close to the net, maybe they'll get a couple in there.
One-time shot from Kissel off the draw. Scooped up and won by the Falcons. Streaming down the ice, Palmerio. There to refute him is McKay, and now Hawkins jumps in. O'Flaherty goes down onto his hands and knees, and it's knocked across the blue line before being shoveled back into the zone. Hogan stands his ground and fires it through the air before a Falcon knocks it down. Another big hit up in the head. Looks like Palmerio caught it bad. Castle, a one-timer. Gets pinned into the corner, twirls around and feeds to the back end. Lining up a shot, die ball, through traffic, backs off the glass. 13.5 to go in the third. And there's Hawkins, gliding his way out of trouble. Arana can't hold on to it and gives his man a little bit of a nudge. Big hit as Castle receives the brunt of that hit from Chambers, and then Williams playing a little trick. Some fancy stick handling. He batted it to himself, Garrett. In traffic, I've never seen that.
And that hit that Chambers laid on was right in front of us.
Slap shot in the cage. Somehow makes its way through the bodies and back in toward the corner. McKay tries to keep that puck on the line and does so. Now to Simino, who gets spun around. Chambers couldn't hold on to it. McKay gets pushed around, and he's unable to find this vulcanized rubber as well. McKay looks a little slow, and now a rush by himself, but the play was blown offside at 12 and 48 seconds to go in period number 3. Indiana still trailing by 4 goals that came in a hectic second period.
Hectic is the perfect word to describe how that second frame went. we saw Concordia scoring in all different types of ways after they only got 2 in the net yesterday. They scored more goals in the second period than they did in 60 minutes yesterday.
Indiana possesses it for the time being, trying to start this play call and chip it all the way across. Instead, it's dumped, and they'll have to chase. Offenbach charges into the corner and smacks his man around. Null gets a bit of a jab in the crease away from the puck, and now it's Brandenburg who ends up on his wallet. Physical play both ends, and McKay carefully guides it onto his tape. Fed through Offenbach, spinning around, and will do a half circle before pushing it to Null. Null, using every bit of force he has, wins the puck back. McKay twirls, hands it off to Williams, who's being handcuffed from behind. Onto the far half dasher, past the Falcons bench. Under 12 minutes to go, Indiana trailing by 4. 2-on-2 rush, now a 2-on-3. Way enters the zone. Rister punched up and out by Jack Thompson. It sails into the ceiling. And again, we have rough stuff after the whistle's blown. This time it's Stawdasher again.
Looked like we had multiple scrums going on after the whistle there. McKay and Brandenburg both getting some checks in.
Plenty of shots have missed the target completely in this period, Garrett, which is something we don't usually see from Indiana. Usually they put up big numbers. A shot right in front of Thompson. He bats it down with his face. A one-timer hits an Indiana skater in the back of the leg. Whitliff slow to move across the ice on the rush. Here comes McDonald to the right dot. Shoots it through the legs of a defender. Doesn't make it happen. Now it bounces free over to Whitliff, who looks to be skating back to normal or close to it. Sneaks past everybody on the far side and into the corner. Gregor meets the puck in front of the Indiana bench and keeps it alive. Quick one-timer right in front. Dangle as Thompson didn't know where it was. It was on his leg. Sails through the air. The airmail caught by Slavin, and he gets taken down with a little bit of a head shove. Had to readjust his chin strap and his helmet. In the near side corner, Slavin exacting his revenge. The man who knocked him away the first time. Jeremy gets tangled up, a little bit of a leg kick. And again, the Falcons stifling defense in this second game. And again, Garrett, we've got guys down on all fours with some pushing and shoving.
That's going to continue for the next 10 minutes. This game's going to be chippy till the end.
.30 seconds away from being halfway home in this final frame. Here comes Gustafson. He gets it pickpocketed, and Kissel carries it instead. One-timer from Gustafson. He swings and misses, and the puck sits on the windowsill for a moment and slides all the way across. A big takedown from behind. Hawkins sends a man right into the cage who was slow to get up. And again, Ian Malcolmson involved in some of the tomfoolery, Garrett. That was a weird collision and a weird contact he made with the net.
Yeah, it looked like the leg got bent up a little bit. He appears to be all right, as fortunately the net does come off now compared to the olden days. They didn't always used to do that, Sam.
No, they didn't, and I'm sure the old-timers are quite glad they do. Williams gets the puck off the draw and feeds it to the far side, where Gustafson narrowly makes his way through traffic. Gains it at the outside hashes. Scoots around, a one-timer bouncing in the air. O'Flaherty couldn't get a good contact on it. Open ice hit by Williamson again, and he tries to finish a check. Entering the zone here, Switek. Shot from his line mate Roberts is waffle boarded into the ceiling to stop play at 9:34 in the third.
Indiana has steadily improved their attacking time this period, Sam, but still unable to find the back of the net. The lone goal being scored by Henry Whitliff back in the second.
Face off in the near side dot for Indiana. Poked away and sent all the way across. Wilderman finding it at his stick and feeds Sherman right at the red line. Another big check in open ice. Gustafson wins the puck back for himself and then gives it to Kissel, who fires to the far side. O'Flaherty seemed to be having a bit of an issue over on the far side, moving his skates. Might have had a blade loose, Garrett. Puck rolls end over end like a car tire and threaded through traffic. Sherman a shot. Gets blocked before it can do any damage.
It wouldn't be the first time we've seen a blade come out, that's for sure.
Retreating straight away backwards. The Falcons will have to try and figure something else out. Had to protect that change. Under 9 to play. Indiana recovers the puck and accepts it. But again, Sherman moving in and harassing a man. Gustafson gets it ripped away from him. And it's redirected off the boards. Again in no man's land, Garrett. Nobody really having any solid possession. In and out of the near side corner. And then fed right in front. Whitliff couldn't do the one-timer. Had to adjust his angle. And could not adjust to the pass in time.
Willie left the net momentarily as well.
Up off the glass. Simoneau puts his back onto it to try and keep the puck there. Whitliff a shot right off the chest protector of Willie. And he did well to position himself. He took it in the shoulder. A tick over 8 minutes to go.
We've seen some productive shifts out of Henry Whitliff today, and he has the lone tally in the score column for Indiana. As I mentioned a couple minutes ago, he's really stepped it up here today despite his team trailing.
Tie up in the near side dot as the puck escapes the zone, and Whitliff will have to slide around in his own side. Falcons causing some trouble for Indiana on both sides of the ice. This is a mirror image, inverse, from what we saw last night, Garrett.
Polar opposite. Expect the unexpected.
Absolutely. It could just be one of those years, Garrett. Hawkins knees it down to himself and then finds a man in McDonald, tries to do a little wall pass off the side, and again getting pushed from behind. Now into the near side corner. A big hit slamming into the glass is Palmerio. He has taken the brunt of a lot of hits tonight.
He's been in the middle of a lot of action as well, down by the net. He's being a pest.
Brandenburg makes his way through and misses the puck. Taking it is Cruiser. Cruiser's already got his name on the score sheet this season. Brandenburg trying to right the wrong that he created and gets bounced against the glass.
Behind the net, the puck goes to be played there, and they score behind the net. It looked like Cruiser set up Weiss. And it's now 6-1. So with 6:40 to go in the period, Concordia has extended their lead to 5 on the Hoosiers. Face-off won by Indiana in the neutral zone. Austin Williams swooping into the attacking. He flings one on net that's paddled away easily by Willie. And Indiana unable to keep the zone. Twirling and spinning was Arana right there. Here's a shot by Weiss, saved by Thompson. 6:20 remaining now. Austin Williams looking for teammates. Reinforcements. Here comes a breakaway. They work their way in and they're going to score again. Lucas Cruiser, who Sam just touched on, extends the lead to 6 here with 6 to play. Indiana put up 7 yesterday, and now 7 goals put up by Concordia. A complete swing of events, Sam, and as you hop back on the mic here, I just mentioned Indiana scored 7 yesterday. They give up 7 today.
And like we said, Garrett, a mirror image. Willie receives it behind his own net and then swings it all the way across where it escapes everybody's grasp. Knocked right into the thigh of Gregor, who receives the give and go from Sherman. A big hit. There's Malcolmson taking a shouldering. Jeremy gliding up the ice, some power strides. His shovel shot over the head and into the near side. kicker gets slammed down. He's a little slow to get up. Jeremy swings wildly at it and doesn't get all of it. Whitliff again slow to chase the puck down on that far side. He's been about a half step slower since he took that shot in the back of the leg, Garrett, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, he's going to feel that one.
The man himself maneuvering around, enters the zone, and still has it where he gives it off to Slavin. He gets sent into the glass again on the near side. Right in front, Michelli chips it up in the air. Guided down back to the ice and out of the zone. Slavin will spin around before being taken again by Malcolmson. His shot right into the glove of Thompson with 4:54 to go in the final frame. Indiana now down by a touchdown.
And at this point, Indiana just trying to limit the bleeding, if you will, Sam. I think all hope of a comeback is lost for the Hoosiers today. Concordia put together a heck of an effort, and it looks like they're going to escape. I was going to say Bloomington, but they're going to escape Columbus with a split.
After the bodies got untangled at the near side dot, the Falcons setting up, and now a rugby scrum in the near side corner. There's Chambers trying to go to work, really chipping and jabbing at it. Now emerging with it is Simoneau. He fires it off an opponent's leg and over to Michelli in the near side corner. Chambers chases it down, gets smacked from behind, and is able to give it up to a teammate. Hogan a shot through traffic. Easy glove save by Willie. He had eyes on it the entire way. Shots on goal here in this third period. 8-7, Garrett. And that is surprising considering the amount of time that the Falcons have spent on the attack.
Yeah, Indiana was able to improve their attack numbers in this period as well, but the shots just haven't really been there for the Hoosiers today. Concordia has gotten a lot of quality looks as well, not just quantity.
Simoneau guides the puck free, but can't feed it into Chambers on the rush. He'll have to dig into the corner. Michelli gets pinned up against it. And now to Williams, who watches it bounce right past his ear. Now into neutral territory, and McKay is down hard. He is holding what appears to be his arm. He was slammed hard, shot right into Willie, and we are going to have all-out chaos right by the goal. It's a big throw. Chambers threw a man over his shoulder, Garrett. This may be the biggest scrum of the night. My goodness, McKay is still not back on the bench yet. He's doubled over at the waist, and both sides are furious as kicker has to come get his stick and retrieve it from the near side. Under 4 to play. And it looks like Chambers and Switek will each get a chance to sit on the bench. I'm surprised they're not being sent straight to the locker rooms considering we're under 4 minutes to play if they do get a misconduct.
Yeah, and Sam, you just had a feeling watching these past couple games that towards the end when both teams are about to go home, something was going to happen, and sure enough, there it is.
Well, if anything, Garrett, this will prepare Indiana for the regular season against league opponents in the Tri-State Collegiate Hockey League. Indiana no stranger to physical play, and this is a really good wake-up call, a punch in the face on opening night. Referees are herded over by the scorer's table trying to work things out. Gregor and Michelli, the acting captains, on the ice as the head official explains it to him. Looking ahead to the Indiana schedule, next weekend they will play a home game of sorts up in Perry Park in Indianapolis against the Miami Redhawks. And then the following night, the 24th of this month, they will travel to Oxford to play the Redhawks at the Goggin Ice Center. Inversely, for the Falcons, after this Indiana series, they'll play Maryville for one game next weekend. Garrett, it's hard to make heads or tails of what happened out there since we can't hear a thing they're saying over there. Michelli kind of leaning in now on the conversation, trying to understand things.
You got to think they're just telling both players right now, look, guys, there's 3.5 minutes left in this game. If anything else happens, you're going to get ejected probably, or it's going to be trouble.
Our pre-post and social media extraordinaire Kelsey standing by. Kelsey, you saw that play take place and just all-out chaos, and now we're going to have a whole laundry list of things to go on that score sheet.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little bit confused as to why the slash on McKay didn't get called. The refs were very, they knew it happened. They watched it happen, but then let the play continue down the ice, and yet again another scrum in front of the net. I'm honestly not surprised. It's been happening all game, so this is just, I think, what's going to continue to happen until the clock runs out, and it's going to be what it's going to be. I mean, there's not really much the Hoosiers can do to tie up the game unless they can put back 6 goals in 3 minutes and 44 seconds. So I presume this is going to be a pretty rough last couple of minutes for both teams.
And this is a completely different officiating crew than we had last night here in the Hamilton Ice Center. How did the style of play change between the 2 games, or is it just depend on how the teams are feeling that day?
I honestly, it looks like they completely switched spots. I mean, Concordia is playing how Indiana played last night and vice versa, and there you really can't say whether it's due to the officials or due to preparation, due to fatigue, but I mean, what's happened, what's done, it's done, and it's a good learning lesson for the Hoosiers going into Miami of Ohio for 2 next weekend, and how they need to be prepared for both games. So it'll definitely be interesting.
Great point you make, Kelsey. Thank you for hopping on here while we had a lengthy break in the action. Up on the scoreboard, it appears that Simino has been placed in the penalty box for 2 minutes. On the other side, John Switek. Face-off will take place on the glove side of Mac Willie. Knocked away toward kicker, and he stumbles, chopping his feet before re-entering the zone. He gets twisted about and gives it up to Castle. All kinds of 7s in this near side corner, Garrett. Finally back with kicker, who's checked from behind by Williams. Jumping and lunging around a man. That's Michael Fredette. Furiously defending even in the waning moments of this game in this series. Here comes Whitliff. Thinking about a shot, now does, but it's off the leg and the skate perhaps of a Falcon sweater. Jeremy turning and hanging out by himself, waiting for the play to set up. McDonald bats it around, and Jeremy gets the puck rolled all the way across. 70 seconds left on the matching minors up on the board, and under 3 to play. Poked free to Fredette, and again Hawkins has to chase in and scoop it away. Williams with some speed. Moves outside the circle, into the corner, feeds it in front, and no one was home. Slavin gets sent into the bench, and finally back onto his skates. A big hit. Williams takes a swing at somebody behind the cage. Had a face full with Nolan Judge. Slavin emerges with it. Oh, quick wrister! No, off the crossbar. Still in play, and Slavin gets his own rebound. Gets yanked away. And the Falcons will carry it in the opposite direction. Just about 2 minutes to play, 7-1 still the score. And Indiana not having the same energy they did last night.
The puck just refusing to go in for the Hoosiers today. That shot by Slavin hit off the crossbar just above the netting and chose to stay out.
Hand pass will be called on that side. Slavin tried to usher the puck cleanly to his teammate, but instead the whistle will blow. 150 up on the big board. 6 seconds left on those matching minors that are being served by different players than were committed. Slavin after the draw has it by himself. Now throws it up toward Arana, who gets a little bit of an elbow to the chin. Sent out in front as the Falcons get a change. Puck sails through the air, and now the whistle blows. A little bit of a hit after the whistle, and Way has not had enough of the physicality in this game. It seems like they're really embracing it.
Yeah, Concordia being up 7-1, they're still not going to let Indiana shove them around. 1.5 minutes to go here, and I'm curious to see how long it takes us to make it through this 1.5 minutes.
So 94 seconds, Garrett. Is there anything that you can take as a learning experience out of this game as a whole or in the last few moments?
Well, the first game went so well that it was really tough to take away anything from that except everything they did was right. The game plan worked, the lines were right, and today there were some changes. You'll have to reevaluate that if you're Coach Weiss, but at the end of the day, they'll make the right decisions that they think give them the best chance to win. And, you know, it's the first weekend for everybody, so they're going to learn a lot and take away what they need to from this weekend.
Last night, a well-oiled machine, and tonight, the gear ratios seem to be a bit off. Charging up the other side. A slap shot off the back glass and into the near side corner. Weiss gets pushed off the puck, and another little shove leaves Kissel with some space on the near side. He bats it down to himself, feeds in front to Jeremy. Thinks about a shot, in traffic, bouncing up off the glass. Out of play, but the whistle took a long time to blow. It was hard to tell whether that hit the ceiling or the tiling on the side or just stayed in play. Again, Whitliff having some words. Presumably not a friendly discussion, Garrett, with some of the Falcons after the whistle.
If I was a betting man, I'd say it wasn't.
58 and 4/10 of a second to go here in the final period, as they will try to make the most of this and find a silver lining. Airmailed all the way across, and Hogan meets it along with Whitliff. Whitliff posting up, standing straight up and looking for his teammates. Still a penalty up on the board. Indiana has an extra man out there with the 5-on-4, and Sherman gets double teamed right at the blue line before the entrance could occur. And now we're going to have a last minute penalty called on Indiana. Looks like O'Flaherty will take another trip to the box. So 4-on-4 for 34 seconds, although the penalty for Way is 1 minute and 1 second, and that's a fresh 2 up on the board for O'Flaherty. Naturally, both of those will be commuted. Shots on goal in this period. Indiana finally getting the lead back, 12-8. But none of them have done much damage, Garrett.
Not at all. Indiana just really not able to generate any key opportunities. They had many yesterday, but just few and far between.
Trying to make something of this last few moments of the game. A 4-on-4. Here's Hogan, his shot right into the belly of Willie with 17 seconds to go. Boy, Garrett, these guys just don't stop talking. And it's good to see at least that they've got the energy to compete for all 60 minutes.
Yeah, they're not going to let go until there's zeros on the clock. We learned that about them over the course of these past couple seasons, but it gets to a certain point where you just got to try to cut your losses.
Burn the tape, bury the football, whatever you have to do to forget this one. Now it's a 4-on-3 for the last 15 seconds of this game. Hawkins tries to avoid the linesman and then gets tangled up and smacked with his skate by the mouth. 5 seconds to go, and it won't come of anything. Played casually along the near side, and that's how this series will wrap up. Indiana won 7-2 on Friday night with a packed house, and during a matinee Saturday contest, dropped 7-1. The Falcons from Concordia, University of Wisconsin, will have a pleasant bus ride home.
Yeah, Concordia, they drove all this way. You mentioned 350 miles in the broadcast yesterday, Sam, and you got to feel good if you're them coming away with a split. It would have been a long, long ride if you started 0-2.
Well, a big thank you to Andrew Gus for working the PA and the scorers table on the far side. Also doing some pregame and postgame action in the meantime as well. Thank you to Kelsey, Dennehy, Connor Duffy on the camera, Ben Stannard back with the tech. Garrett, an excellent job in the second. I've been Sam Weixler. 7-1 the final score. Indiana loses the back half of this series to Concordia. This is the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network.